Hello, ladies and gentlemen of SeemsGoodMagic.com. This is Travis Simulant Sowers, and we're going to do a Kaladesh draft. I've actually come back to drafting Kaladesh a little bit, and maybe the format had a little bit more going for it than I gave it credit for. I've been drafting it some on stream, mainly because Cube ended and it's not a flashback I'm super interested in. It's been Zendikar lately, and that was kind of between when I played, so I don't really know anything about Zendikar, and like getting excited about a flashback format for a week. Not really what I want to be doing. So I tried a couple Kaladesh drafts, did some sealeds, played in a PTQ, and like I'm kind of enjoying it. The fact that I can do the very aggressive deck that I want to be playing, and then if it's open, end up with a silly Whirler Virtuoso deck or blue-black artifact deck, I think means there's something here. I still don't like some of the pushed cards that are in the format, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. And anyway, let's hop in here and do a draft and kind of have some fun. It looks like we got a couple weeks before Aether Revolt is out, and we can enjoy sending Kaladesh off. Yeah. And here we are. That one took a little bit to fire. Here, I'm usually really interested in being aggressive in this set, so Thriving Grubs is quite interesting. Tune with Aether is a very fine place to start if you want to do like an energy deck. We've also got a removal spell in Hunt the Weak. So it's kind of between those. Or we could just take one of the best mythics in the set. It's just an absurd card and it's colorless. Right, Dutch? Yeah. We're going to get all on board the console flagship. I managed to beat a console flagship yesterday on stream. And then they played Noxious Gearhulk, and we dealt with that. And we built up a board state, and we're about to get them, and then they played Fumigate. So it can be a rare-driven format, but is not always. Those were actually really fun games. But yeah, it's kind of hard to go wrong when you start with a Skyship. The only downside of first picking a broken mythic like this is like, you first pick it, and you're like, okay, we're going to 3-0, it's going to be easy. But like, you still have to draft a cohesive deck and make sure that you would take advantage of this card, because you may never draw it. And it may actually get dealt with. There's a lot of artifact removal in the set that just kind of takes care of it. Not at an advantage, right? Like, you're still probably going to be in trouble. Now, from that pack, we're like, after the Skyship, there were actually reasonable picks there. To this one, it's just kind of not anything at all. Like, the best card is between the Scourge and the Gear per Gear guide. Oh man, what a garbage pack. Oh yeah, like you could just light these on fire and not even have them and everybody would be fine. I mean, I have a default to like green or red or white rather than blue/black. The only thing I could say about the Wild Wanderer is that it does get us from 4 to 5. But like, I really don't like this card. I'd rather save a mana on the creature. I'm going to take the Gear per guide. It's probably a little bit better than the Wanderer, and it single green a little bit easier to cast, but I'm going to put it right over here because this by no means means we're green. It's certainly not easy being green with all the good green commons. Floating about. Speaking of good green commons, I see Pima Outrider and cards that are not Pima Outrider. I do like a Tune with Aether. Like, this is a fine card. I like Weaponscraft Enthusiast. This leads to some interesting things. And I agree that Aether Theorist is in the running for top blue commons. The challenge is I'm not going into blue for a common. Like, there is no blue common that I'm going to pick and be like, well, I guess we're blue. It's got to be an uncommon or a rare to get me to want to do it. And like, taking this early does open you up to a lot of things, but taking Pima Outriders early kind of leaves you open to smashing your opponent in the face with Robo Horses. So we're going to get on the Robo Horse train. Maybe we wield the Sage, and maybe we're interested in energy. But right now I'm kind of digging the solid 3-4-5 curve that we've got going on here. And it's a Robo Horse. Like, if we're going to Kaladesh, let's Kaladesh. This is not the rare that I go into blue for. Yeah, there's essentially no cards here other than Appetite for the Unnatural and a Built to Smash. Insidious Wheel's fine, but like 4-mana counter's not where I'm at. This guy is like 4 mana for a 2/2 trample. No thanks. I understand you can pump it, but like sometimes you have to block, so I don't particularly like the card. Same with Surprise Kittens. Like it's just kind of not a great removal spell. And I like Built to Smash a lot, but I'm not going red for that. I'm just going to take an Appetite for the Unnatural. I have seen people in stream chat say, you take these too early. But I do take them really early, and I play all of them that I get, and they're good. That's how we were able to kill our opponent's Skyship. And I liked it. So like I'm seeing red cards here, I'm seeing white cards here. What I'm getting at is I like Appetite for the Unnatural. I take them early, I take them often, and I'm happy about it. We've seen a couple Built to Smashes, which may lead to like red-green being a thing. There's not a green card here, or I'd just take it. Like Thriving Ibex is it's not really great. Herald of the Fair is kind of like this dude. I have played Terror of the Fairgrounds and been all right with it. I think I'm going to take a Built to Smash and put it in the board. This guy's fine too, but like I'm not going into any of these colors for these cards. This one's a fine one to have if I'm those colors. Because again, I'd prefer to be attacking my opponent. Like we should get some indication here of what's actually open. Tidy Conclusion makes me think maybe we're doing some green-black things. I mean, we could easily end up black-red too. It's very early in the draft, but like the only like good cards left are Conclusion, Malphus Squad, and to a lesser extent the Giant and the Harrier. But both of these are better than that. So yeah, let's tidy up the room a little bit, shall we? Like that to me is a little bit of a signal. Okay, you can go ahead and take a Tidy Conclusion. Yes, Dutch. It's very tidy. Much Conclusion. So we're going to want some 2-drops. They don't necessarily have to be good ones. I've not been super happy main decking Hazardous Conditions. It's an interesting sideboard card, but again, we're not... I should really put this over here and be a grown-up. We're not really black yet. I need to see another card to make me be like, okay, we could do that. It's weird that like I'm considering black-green and I'm not interested in the black-green-gold card. Like I'm kind of not interested in a Goblin Piker either. Black-green doesn't have a lot of reasons to want energy. I guess I'll take it. Maybe we run it in the side. Like it could be quite devastating to the aggro decks. I still maintain that Bastion Mastodon is the best card you can open in sealed. At least at common, but this is not sealed, and I'm happy with one Narnum Cobra in my deck. I did play a deck with like 3 of them yesterday, but it was to ramp out Gear Seeker Serpents. I usually don't want 3 of them, but I'm pretty happy with one. Like, I'm going to play a Goblin Piker. It may as well be one that I can give Death Touch to, not one that gives me energy. This dude's playable. It's not like great, but it's fine. Like if they deal with your Skyship, you can get it back. It's okay with these guys. I understand it's technically not card advantage, but you get to pick which card you're drawing. I think we're probably looking at black now. Like if I open an amazing red card, maybe we'll talk about switching over. And I think I'm pretty firmly in green. Like the Outrider and the Appetite are enough for me to want to be going in that direction. We take a lot of vehicles for me to want to do this, but I'm not doing anything else out of this pack. Torch Gauntlets are pretty meh. I played it in a blue deck that was, I can't remember, I think it was blue-white, because it was looking to like fabricate and had a couple serpents. Okay, now this is in contention now with the black. Because, like, Wayward Giant's not a bad card, and this is a fine sideboard card, too. I'll just take the green card for signaling purposes. And Fortuitous Find is fine. It plays all right with the Cobra. So, like, we're probably wanting to be black, but there's a possibility that red is a place to be. Like, with this as our base, we're fine, and then we've got 2-ish playables in the other colors. I've been less and less impressed with Durable Handicraft and Draft. I played it in a sealed deck and was able to 4-1 with it. It was okay. Like, I kind of just want to take the Snare Thopter here. It's not committing to another color, and it's a fantastic card. There's some possibility we wheel the Handicraft, and I might play it. We could spin the Reunion, the Gremlins, maybe even the Monitor. Yeah, this seems like a reasonable Snare Thopter. I don't particularly care for Ballista Charger. It's all right. But like if I have the opportunity to take this, I think I'm more interested in that. So where are we sitting on artifact creatures? Like if we're black-green, we could have a decent amount of them. Because I'm kind of thinking, do I want the Bazaar Barge, which is neat because it draws you a card, or do I want the Foundry Inspector? Foundry Inspector's kind of busted. If I can get it here and prioritize the artifact dudes a little more, like it makes the Cobra better, it makes Snare Thopter better, it makes making the token an option here. If I wasn't taking this, I guess I'd be taking the barge. And like I really would rather my vehicles be freighters. That mana discount's a big deal. And maybe we spend that Aetherborn. I think we would play it at this point. Well, let's get you in there, Foundry Inspector. If we had a little bit more splashing potential, we might consider this. Now, generally speaking, I'm interested in Thriving Rhinos, and that, to be fair, would be a place to dump a little extra energy. Malphus Squad is quite tempting now that we've seen the Foundry Inspector, and it generally isn't difficult to splash in green decks. But like, if I'm splashing an Unlicensed Disintegration in my green-black deck, it's kind of the same as having a Tidy Conclusion, because I'm never casting it on turn 3, and I wouldn't want to anyway. So I kind of don't feel like I want to take that, even though it's a very strong card. Like, why splash for that when we can add 2 mana and maybe pick up another Conclusion? And I got that one so late, I should see it anyway. Yeah, I'm going to take a Rhino. I want some more 2-drops, but like a Duned Operative would be great. Hunt the Weak is acceptable. I don't care much for the Elegant Edge Crafters. I don't want to live fast. Like, again, we're still just kind of hedging on this green line here. I think green-black, but it could almost be anything. Widowmaker's kind of interesting with the Foundry Inspector, but I don't think we're looking to Dirtle. Like, Subtle Strike seems like a fair pick here. It's a very good trick. Yeah, we're missing some 2s. I really need like a Dukara Scavenger. It's between that and the Weldfast Monitor. The Monitor has the advantage if we could play it either way. What the heck, man? I do like me an Oval Chase Daredevil. I would like a Narnum Cobra too, but we are now green-black. Welcome to green-black. We waited long enough and we found it. We found it. This is what we're doing. Like, I've got, what, 5 artifacts currently. We can pick up some more. Maybe one of these guys or something, but the Oval Chase Daredevil can be really annoying to deal with. And I am super happy to have one. Nothing we're going to play here. What are the chances I would be interested in going into red? And if I did, that I'd even want to hijack? I mean, pretty low. Pretty low. I suppose there's a world where we might play Goggles, but I generally think it's a terrible card and you should never play it. Don't love Die Young, but I don't mind taking one here. It's mostly just to trade with your opponent's 2-drops, and since we have a lack of 2-drops, that's kind of not something I mind doing. I took a Foundry Inspector instead of, for some reason I got this mixed up in my head for Chief of the Foundry, so it's not pumping the cards, it's making them cheaper. That still makes sense to me, and that we could potentially cast this sooner, maybe get a discount on this, but it's not nearly as good as I thought it was. That's one of the risks of drafting first thing in the morning and going into a format you haven't drafted in a while. You're like, oh yeah, it's the artifact guy, pumps artifacts, it's going to be great. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the card I thought it was. All that being said, I think we're fine. We could play this and be okay with it. I'm not going to activate it. I also don't hate playing Mind Rot. Like, it's not absurd against the Dirtle, Burtle decks. Yeah, we can get rotten. Okay, we spun the Aetherborn, which I do like. I don't think I want to live fast. All I'm really looking for here is a couple of 2s, and I think we've got a serviceable deck. Although Malphus Squad is fine too. We certainly do have enough artifacts to keep the Daredevil coming back if you count the tokens. And that can really be an annoying card. Like at 4 power, make this a 3-2. Make this a 3-2 for 3, and I don't think it's that good. Because there's plenty of 3 toughness things, or 4 toughness things that can block it. I'll take one here. I don't know that this is getting in, but it might. But what I was getting at is it's fairly easy to blank a 3 power attacker, right? But a 4 power attacker that keeps coming back is a colossal problem. Wingsmith for value. I don't even want the foil lands. You're a mean one, Mr. Dutch. Yeah, we'll take a cat. What's happened is green is not really open, but we've got some really good green cards. Huh. Well, I ain't passing it. The question is, after just saying green's not really open, but we've got some good green cards, do we just take it and be like, I guess we're black-red the whole time and we just didn't know it? Because, like, it's worth a couple tickets. Well, by a couple, I mean 13. It basically pays for the draft. If we're on the Pro Tour, I probably take the Doomed Operative and pass it, but we're not. We're not. I would have to pick up 13 playables to go red-black, which I don't think is super likely, but I'll take my $13 and move along with my life. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for considering it? Let's consider it. Let's consider it. Like, it's late in the format. These are the times that stories are made of. Because I could totally take a Thriving Grubs. And like we could get a Mind Rot in. The fastest playable. We could play this if we had to. We could totally do that. I could also take a Furious Reprisal. I like it a lot. I really wish I had that Unlicensed Disintegration and feel kind of stupid now. But like the opportunity to play Skyship and the double mythic draft deck. And we've got this Wayward Giant. Yeah, I'm a maniac. I'm confirmed a maniac. Okay. Prophetic Prism means maybe I could. Yeah. Not really do much, but do something on turn 2. Okay. I mean, we've got some double reds and some double blacks. What I'm doing right now is also screwing up a draft for my neighbors. By basically grabbing up the black cards and green cards earlier. Being deep enough in black means I can probably actually make this work. We may have some stinkers, like the Cobra, but I think Chandra is just better than all of our green cards. Especially if I can get a bunch of grubs. Some argument for Eager Construct, perhaps, but like at this point, I like the grubs. There's another Daredevil, Club Security, Spontaneous Artist. Like, I got enough artifacts to keep these guys recurring. So, sure. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts to bring these dudes back. All right, now here's the moment of truth, because like all of the premium stuff should be out of these packs, which means what garbage am I going to have to play to justify this? And how much of a maniac am I for doing it? Like, was my chances better to just take the $13 and put it in the sideboard and move along with my life? Or is this actually what I'm supposed to be doing? It's an interesting format when I'm not really interested in this. Like, Fleet Wheel Cruiser is absurd. Absurd. It's absurd. It's not very good on defense. Like, I kind of need something in the 3-drop, but I'm going to continue to be greedy. Like, if I have to shove in Cobras, that's fine. If we have to play a fortuitous find and a Mind Rot, that's fine. I don't have enough dudes, and I'm picking non-creature spells. I see what you're concerned about, but don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. So Brawler, which I can't play. I guess we're just mono 4-drop deck. So many 4s. At this point, I really need early interaction, and I just don't need 4s. If I have to, I probably have to play Cobra. So I'm going to take the Pyrohelix. We're probably putting in the Cobra, Mind Rot, and Live Fast, with the idea that if we can get to our bombs, and we have 2 of them, so we probably can in the course of a game, then we can win off of the back of those. Cathartic Reunion plays to that game plan as well, but frankly so does Eager Construct, and it can attack and block, as well as crew my 2 vehicles, and to give me a reasonable creature count. So I think I'd rather get Eager. What a weird draft. What a weird draft. Just attack a trade wins here. I hope I'm not playing the club security, because I think this is the deck. And it is a little short on stuff and things. I've already got copies of each of these. Like, there's Ambitious Aetherborn's not bad. Oh, this is such a train wreck. The upside is I can still play the green version if I want to. Like, I don't think we really passed any good green stuff. Like, do I want to play a base black deck with like a couple grubs? Because the mana for this is going to be weird. Weird. Or I can take out the red and put the green stuff back in. So that's like the real question we need to ask ourselves in deck building is, are the green cards better than Chandra? I don't know that they are. Let's look at them side by side, because our red is basically Chandra. And our green is basically Pima Outrider and Hunt the Weak with a nod to the Rhino. Or Rhino and Hunt the Weak with a nod to the Outrider. I think one Chandra is just better than these. And if I can stay alive long enough to cast it, I may be able to win a game with it. And that it's worth playing some stinkers like just a Goblin Piker to pull it off. The last question is Live Fast better than Fortuitous Find? And it may not be. One helps me find the cards that win the game, but at the same time takes a turn off and loses me some life, which is actually particularly relevant here. I want stuff to do on turn 3. I'm just not sure I want it to be this. You could argue that Mind Rot would be the cut too, but I don't mind starting a Mind Rot. I usually don't do it if I get there on playables, like it's something that's easy to edge out. And it's an odd deck that I think doesn't want built to smash. I mean, I do plan on killing my opponent by attacking, and it can go nicely with Grubs or Construct. So maybe I should just do that. I'm hesitant to do it with 13 creatures. But I mean, I could see doing that. Yeah, and then we could just look at Dukara Scavenger as like a get back something spell. I don't mind one of these in a 4/6 is huge. This is really the weirdest curve I've ever seen. I don't even know that it is a curve. I still have to go like 9/8 if we're ever going to resolve Chandra, which means we're going to have some mana troubles, but like it's not the end of the world. This is a very powerful and inconsistent deck, and I cannot wait to run it through round one. I've drafted a lot of Kaladesh. I think this is the first time I've gotten to play with Chandra in Limited. I've played with Sky Sovereign like 5 times and played against it like 5 times, and it's busted. But I think this is the first time I've actually gotten to play with Chandra, and I'm excited to give it a go. And I really wish I'd taken that unlicensed disintegration, but how could you know? How could you know? All right, we'll see you for round one in just a minute.